Mark, if you want to come on up. And just sit right there. I'm not as flexible as you think, Dave. That's perfect. That's awesome. Brad, how does that yada yada, how does that work? Can we do that one time? Yada 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 yada. I'll never make it as a singer.
Yeah, all right.
Well, now I know why I'm an accountant and not a singer. Hi, my name is Chris Spenley. My family and I are from just outside of Maryland. My wife and 2 children are here with me tonight, along with many members of my family. And my wife and I formed an organization called Advocates for Drug Awareness. And we're really proud of tonight because tonight's the first event that this organization has sponsored, and I'm really thrilled to be a part of it, and I hope all of you are too. And I would like to thank St. Joe's University, and more specifically Dr. Joan Ryan, for taking on this opportunity and letting us be here. So thank you very much, Dr. Joan. I would also like to thank a really dear friend of mine. His name is Kevin Martz, and he's done more to put this thing together than any of you might know. And he's an absolute awesome individual, and Dr. Jones spoke before about falling prey to one of his phone calls, and you have not been the only one that has ever happened to, so you should feel good about that. But Kevin, from the bottom of my heart, I want to say thank you for everything that you've done to make this happen tonight. I'd like to thank Brad and his band for being a part of this evening. It's certainly very special to me to have them here and share music, because I really think that that's a way to connect. And I want to thank you, Brad, you and the band, for being a part of this tonight. I'm kind of on a roll. This clapping thing is pretty cool, you know?
You got it, man. You got it.
I kind of like that. It's probably going to end in a couple of seconds. But I got one more. I want to thank all of you for being here tonight. I want to thank all of you for listening to what I think are some really important messages. I want to thank the people that are here to support my family and I. And I want to thank you for being here to listen to the music, because I really think that that's a main part of the message is let's all get together and have fun. And thank you for being here. One thing that I'm very certain of is that none of you have come here tonight to listen to me talk about drug awareness. I guarantee you that that's the case. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. And I thought about it as I came up here from Baltimore this afternoon, and I said to myself, what is it that could be so important that I would hire a musician, I would drive 3 hours to a college campus to talk to a bunch of people that I don't even know about something that they don't even want to listen to? What is it that could be that important? I'm going to do my best to get through this, but it's so important to me that I wanted to try and do this and do it right. And it means a lot to me. This whole evening means a lot to me. And that's why I'm here, and I hope it means something to you at the end. I just got to get my place here, so I'm going to do the best I can. Things that I would like out of this evening is it's pretty simple, and in some ways it's confusing. The simple part is I need help. I need everybody's help. The confusing part deals with a journey that I started a few years ago. It's a journey that I'm not sure where it's going. I'm not sure its final destination, but I know it means something, and it's really important to me. So now that I've totally confused you, think about how confused I am about this journey. But let me talk to you about some specific things about the journey, and maybe I'll get back to, at the end, I'll get back to the help part. But let me give you the description of some of the specific parts of this journey. On October 22nd, 2005, My oldest son, Sean, died from a disease called addiction. He died of a drug overdose. Sean was a college student. He loved being a college student. In fact, I would have guessed that he was at least on the 5-year program, if not the 6-year program. That's how much he loved college. Okay? He had a passion for life. He had a passion for music. He had an incredible imagination. And he often dreamed, and he would tell his mother and I of all the places that he wanted to be and all the things that he wanted to do. He absolutely loved his friends, and he loved meeting more friends, and he loved being around his family. In so many ways, he was just a typical college kid facing all the challenges that you all face and trying to conquer all those opportunities. But he had one issue. He was a risk taker. And he went down a path that he often told his mother and I he wishes that he never went down. And I know you heard some stories today about that. And once you go down that path, it's really hard to go back. And my son often told me about how hard it was. The one thing that his mother and I have comfort in is, as we look back at those times, is how much he would ask for help, and that he really wanted to get help. And as I look back in those times, there's some comfort in my own mind about the times that my son would ask for help. And in particular, when he was in rehab, there was a letter that I wrote to him, and I just want to share with you a couple of excerpts from that letter, if you don't mind. I want you to know how proud I am that you've taken the first steps towards recovery. This had to be something very difficult to do. It says that you care about yourself, so much so that you took this first step, even with all those complications. My support is and will be relentless if it is for your recovery. Select the next step that gives you the best chance to recover. I don't want you to be in pain. Remember, recovery is more than one decision. It's a plan, it's execution of the plan, and it's about you feeling good again. The letter continues on and talks about the things that I've learned and the things that I've seen. And it ends with, I hope you have learned as much as I have learned. But most of all, I hope, I pray to God that I can hug you for the rest of my life and share the peace of mind that we have recovered together. That end to that letter, I never knew how important it was until I read it a few months ago. You see, what I had learned was that my son during recovery had a chance to recover, and he had a chance of not recovering. And he had a chance that this disease would take his life. And at the end, when I talk about getting a hug, all I wanted and all I dreamed about was that if I could get a hug from my son for the rest of my life, then my son would have outlived me. And he would have recovered. And that was my dream. I know this story doesn't hit home with everyone in this room. And its purpose of me telling it is not for that purpose. But the one thing that I've learned is that substance abuse, drug use, it just continues to go on, and it seems to me that it just continues to get worse. And I as a parent affected by that, want to do something about it, and that's why I formed the organization called Advocates for Drug Awareness. And I'm not here to tell you that just because you drink or just because you make a bad decision and use drugs, that you automatically become an alcoholic or a drug addict. That's not the message I'm delivering tonight. But the message that I want to deliver is that I think as a group we can all help each other understand the implications, the pain, and you saw some incidences tonight of things that can happen that are just not good. I realized that on October 22nd, the journey that I wanted with my son seemed to end. And that hurt, and I will never forget Sean and the pain that I feel by him not being around. But there are other things that have gone on since then that I want to tell you that it's inspiring to me, and I hope they become inspiring to you. And it happened on the day of my son's funeral. And this woman came up to my wife and I, and she said, she was holding a picture, and she said, "I would like to talk to you, Mr. and Mrs. Spenley, about your son, Sean." And I said, "Okay." And she goes, "Well, I met your son in rehab, and he was a dear friend of mine." And she started to cry. And she said, there was one night after we had both come out of rehab that I wanted to stop my recovery and I wanted to use drugs. And your son told me that there were so many more important things in life than to use drugs and stop my recovery, and that I needed to be a mom to my baby, and that was far more important than anything that could involve drugs. And she handed my wife and I a picture of her baby, and she said, "I want you to know that my baby will have a mom because your son told me that how important it was, and I will never forget your son as long as I live." And for weeks and months afterwards, I started thinking about that story. And I started trying to understand what the message was of that story, and what did it mean? Why did this girl who didn't know anything, didn't know Mrs. Spenley or I, come up and tell us that story? And I started to see something clearly that I think is the hope that we want to talk about tonight. And I just want to share with you something that I wrote, if I can find it here. I decided that this message is really simple. You see, my dream was that I wanted Sean to learn the things that I had learned. Well, this was right here in front of me, that Sean really did learn the things that I had learned. And he had learned it so much that he was able to pass it on to somebody else. And he was able to help somebody else, and he saved a life. And even though there are days when I'm by myself and I cry and I think about and I miss my son terribly, I started to understand that there's more to my dream, that it truly had not ended. And so the journey continues. And I happened to meet, I don't know where he is. Where's Eric Balke? Oh, Eric, why don't you come up? I met Eric Balke, and Eric Balke is an accomplished songwriter, custom songwriter, and he probably can, Brad and Eric are going to sing this song that we wrote, and I think it probably tells a better story about the journey than I just told. But the one thing that I hope when they sing this song, I hope you all listen. And I hope you all get the message that I think is so important and the message that I get out of this song. And let me tell you what I think that message is. See, I think if we all share the things that we have learned together, and if we all hold on to that hope and we all try to touch a heart, that I think we can help each other. And for me, it may not be the same as me telling a mom to be the best mom that she can be, but when I listen to this song and I hold on to hope, it sure feels like I'm getting a hug back from my son. And I hope the song means as much to you as it does to me. So, guys, if you don't mind, play the song.